It's a pet's life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit at petslife.ie.
Okay, very good morning to you and a very good morning to our main man, that is Des Groom. Des, how are you?
Yeah, good, John. I'm great, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good. You're all settled back in now after the last couple of weeks.
I had my little break and did my bit of cycling, had my cycling holiday in September, but very much into the winter groove now.
Yeah, all systems go back to normal. Do things generally within the veterinary world calm down this time of year? Or
Yeah, the autumn to Christmas is a little quieter. And the reason why is because most species give birth in the spring and summer. So that keeps us busier. And the fleas and ticks and all the rest of it are active in the spring and summer. And winter, you get a different range of diseases, a different range of infections, but generally without the parasites and the newborns, winters are a bit quieter.
Yeah, and coincidentally enough, I was going to ask you something. It was nothing to do with a listener, but I was talking to somebody, and it was to do with bedding for cats and dogs and type of bedding if they're kind of in, if you have a kennel outside or whatever the case may be. Do people put a bit of carpet down? Do they put an old pillow down? What would you recommend for stuff like that?
Yeah, a bit of carpet is perfectly fine, often perfectly adequate. The good disposable, washable, foam-based beds with a nice cloth over them, a nice hard-wearing cloth, also advisable, also a good idea. The really strong kind of faux leather dog beds are great because they're fully washable, fully wipeable. They're great as well, and they're hard wearing and they last longer. So go to some of the better pet shops or have a look on one of the good websites like pets.ie. Good big dog beds that are size appropriate. As I say, the faux leather ones that can be washed and wiped, they're a really good recommendation. But equally, because most dogs end up destroying and chewing and eating the bed at some stage, the commonest way of managing the dog bedding is simply just to buy the cheap ones and however long they last.
And then replace them.
And then just replace them.
And would that apply to, say, indoors and outdoors? So obviously a lot of people would have a kennel outside for their dogs and probably have an indoor basket as well. The same rule applies?
Yeah, I think it's if you go through the crate training process with dogs when they're puppies, I think it's a good idea to keep up that plan and have a crate or have a box in the corner, and that's her space, that's her safe place, and have her bed in it. And generally speaking, they tend not to destroy the bed inside the crate because they regard it as their safe space. They're more likely to destroy the one that they can pull around the garden. Yeah.
So when you're going off, the parents are going off, or the owners are heading off out of the door, and they're back in a few hours' time, and they chuck their dog out into the back garden because they know there's a kennel out there. That's the one that they kind of they get bored with probably being outside too long, is it?
Well, you see, the dog that normally lives in the house most of the time, an awful lot of our very domesticated, very family bonded dogs that live indoors with people and perhaps sleep indoors and all the rest of it, you'd be amazed the level of separation anxiety, the incidence of separation and boredom that you get with these dogs. So it does require a bit of training to teach them to be left for a few hours and to know that you're coming back. So this is where the crate comes in handy, because I know a lot of the younger dogs in particular, it might take them a couple of years to get out of this habit of destructive behaviour when the owners leave. And that could be destructive behaviour in the garden. It could be digging. It could be eating plants and potted plants and chewing the bottom of the tree and this kind of stuff. So, as I say, the young, active, modern house dog, house pet, they can do a lot of damage in the garden in a couple of hours.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, I can see that. Would that be kind of a good idea to get people presents for Christmas, by the way? Kind of those
dog beds.
And you see that a lot of them coming through on social media, all these kind of ones that are calming beds and the real fluffy ones. And the dogs are kind of blended into it and all.
Well, that's a great idea. Either as a Christmas present for your own pet, right? If you want to take the humanisation to the next level, get the dog a Christmas present of a bed, or for a family member. If you have a family member with a family pet, as I say, the good dog beds are a great Christmas present because invariably they'll be replacing them regularly anyway. If they have a dog in the house. Any dog owner who loves their dog would really appreciate a nice present like that for themselves.
Yeah.
That's for the dog.
Yeah, Mick was on, he just said he's a golden Labrador, and he says he's about 9 years old, and he says that he lives on the beanbag, and it's actually a pet beanbag that we got on a pet shop some years ago back. Best invention ever.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And probably a faux leather one. I've seen them in corduroy, and I've seen them in this type of strong rubberised, leatherised sort of rubber.
Yeah.
And they're hard enough for the dog to chew through, and the dogs like them, and they'll leave them alone. We've a couple of bean bags at home, actually, and Bonnie pulls them out to the garden, but she can't destroy them.
Yeah.
And she likes lying on them and playing on them.
Okay, right. Now, let's we'll take your questions on 0833 97 97 97. General questions, anything to do with what we were talking about during the course of the next while or so. So, Puppy Academy. Tell us about this.
Well, we partnered with St. Conleth College last year. So
Okay.
St. Conleth College in Newbridge run a post-leaving cert, a third level course, which is an animal care diploma. And typically we have hired some of the graduates from this diploma for Gym Dog as animal handlers.
Right.
Dog trainers, animal care assistants, animal handlers, and it's a very good course, and they learn animal husbandry, animal welfare, animal handling, dog grooming, as well as the practical skills of restraint and a little bit of training, a little bit of lead management, and it's a really good, practical, industry-focused animal care diploma. So we've collaborated with them over the last couple of years, and we run some of the modules on a half day a week at Kildare Vet Surgery alongside the Gym Dog Centre.
Okay.
And where we help these students learn practical skills of animal handling, kennel hygiene and cleaning, and grooming.
Right.
So kind of 3 modules they learn with us: animal handling and animal care and grooming, the 3 modules.
And many students would partake in this at a time?
There's generally about 20 on that diploma course per year. As I say, it's a good industry focused course, and I've to be honest, I've generally employed 1 or 2 graduates from that course every year.
And would the 1 or 2 graduates, have they got a genuine interest in going further into veterinary anyway? Yeah,
so of that diploma, I'm sure the course tutor Mary would tell you more. A couple of them go on and become veterinary nurses.
Yeah.
A couple of them go on and become dog trainers, and a couple of them go into the animal industry in general and maybe end up working in pet stores.
Yeah.
And did I mention some of them become dog groomers?
Right. Yeah. So there's a load of different pathways.
There is. So we do a half day a week with them. They do a Wednesday morning with us, and that's starting next Wednesday. So for their first semester, it's learning the practical skills, and they're doing a half day a week with us on the 3 modules. Now, to ensure that we have a good population of dogs for them to learn with and for them to study with, we run the academy in conjunction with our customers, whereby we're encouraging people to bring in puppies, and we have a socialisation class and a little grooming class. And a general care and maintenance and brushing and tidying. So part of the module that the students have to learn is having enough puppies and dogs for them to work with. So we're encouraging people to bring their puppies into us for the Wednesday for the half day, and we charge them a €50 fee to have the dog with us for the morning. But for that, the puppy has its time in a play group and has a mini groom.
Right, okay.
For the morning with us.
Okay, so that's good value for money.
Yeah, it's good value for money. So folks, if you do have a young dog at home and you'd like your dog to have a little groom, you'd like your dog to have a bit of socialisation and an extra bit of time with other dogs and a playtime and some exposure to a daycare setting, Wednesday mornings we're running our Puppy Academy in conjunction with, and as I say, we have 20 extra helpers because we have the 20 students with us for the morning.
What's your definition of puppy age for this?
Up to about 9 months.
Okay, right, fair enough.
There you go.
And do the dogs automatically interact? Mostly, do they?
Yes, they will. Now, we can tell the ones that need extra socialisation will make strange.
Yeah.
And they'll cower and they'll seek out the corners of the playpen and they'll be reluctant to interact. So what we do with them is we get a handler to take them for a walk amongst the group, and we socialise them and interact initially on the lead until they have the confidence to be able to interact and play by themselves. And if we notice that they're particularly shy and they haven't socialised much before, then we look for an age and size appropriate group for them, where they'll get confidence. A really key thing for dogs is to get good with other dogs, to be confident and to be socialised. Because if they're confident and they're socialised, then their owners can bring them anywhere and there'll be no trouble.
That's it.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
If they're not socialised, then they will be barking, pulling, making strange, and they'll be difficult dogs to bring anywhere.
Yeah. But there's different types of dogs and different types of attitudes and different types of, I suppose, personalities.
There is.
And that makes a difference.
There is, and we have to make sure that the groups we mix them with are appropriate. So you have your guarding and your shepherding dogs, and your working breeds like retrievers. They'd be what we call kind of high drive. The ones that are probably recent bloodlines would have been working breeds. They tend to be high drive. They need to mix together because innately they're more confident, more active, and probably a little bit rougher in their play. And then you have the real very, very small dogs need to be kept together, obviously for safety reasons. And the in-between ones, like the cockers and the springers, that would be a different group. Okay, brilliant stuff indeed. Keep your questions coming. There's a few coming in. Before we go any further, I want to talk to you about the recent cat survey which I came across. So I'll give you just a breakdown of some of the stuff and we'll add bits to it as we go along. But a recent poll of 1,000 cat owners revealed that 17% are unsure about their cat's dietary needs, how much they should be eating, with a further 23% admitting to the same. Nearly 1 in 3 confess they don't know the ideal weight for their cat, while 63% only have some confidence in their knowledge of their pet's overall health. Some survey, actually. Some survey. Does it say what country that survey was taken in? UK and Ireland. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Northern Ireland, it could be whatever, but I mean, it says UK and Ireland. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It seems about normal. You see, cats, we're only catching up in terms of our cat ownership compared to our dog ownership. Most people are probably better on understanding and knowing the dog's needs than they are the cats. In terms of pet ownership, you have cat people versus dog people, and they're two different client bases. Absolutely, completely. And usually cat people have a different lifestyle from dog people and that kind of stuff. And usually a household that's set up for cats maybe doesn't suit a dog, and vice versa. So there's a cohort of people out there who really do understand cats, but I would surmise that probably the majority don't. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. They're very different from dogs, you see, and their nutrition is very different. They're not smaller. It doesn't follow that, for instance, dog food doesn't suit cats. No, doesn't. And cats are not small dogs. They're very different species. Okay. And dietary supplements, I mean, for example, there I see like you have the gym... Like a cat food, yeah. Yeah. I was reading up on that now, before. Now, tell you a few bits about the differences, will I? Yeah, go on. Nutrition-wise. Yeah. Now, okay, so first of all, cats are carnivores. Right? Dogs are not carnivores, dogs are omnivores. This is why dogs will eat grass. This is why vegetables and so on are okay for dogs. But cats are carnivores. Cats have a much higher need for protein and fat than a dog. So you'll notice that the average dog food is about 20% protein. Okay. A good cat food is 35% protein. Now that's very high. It is, yeah. Now fat, right? Now for instance, dog food is 5% to 8% fat. Okay. Cat food, 20% fat. Okay. 20% fat. Right. So they have this need to eat and digest and metabolise high levels of fat. The other thing about them is then they have a higher need for omega-3 and omega-6 than dogs. They get that from fish. Yeah. They have a higher need for a couple of amino acids. There's an amino acid called taurine, another one called lysine. They have higher needs for those amino acids than a dog would. And they have a higher need for vitamin A than a dog would. Should you give cats supplements? You shouldn't need to if you feed a good quality cat food, a proper cat diet. But if you were only throwing your cat down scraps and bits and pieces, which people probably did in the old days. I'm looking at the survey as well. At the end of the survey, it says the survey also revealed that cat owners often feed their pets with cheese, which I was told that's okay. Bacon 22%, and even pieces of potato. You can do all that, providing the majority of the diet is a balanced cat food diet that's been formulated properly by scientists and has a good balanced regulated recipe. And look at the back of the bag and see, is it a complete cat food? Okay, brilliant stuff. Okay, there's loads of questions. It's a good survey. Yeah, and it's as I say, what we said over the last few weeks, between now and Christmas, we're running cat neutering and cat checkups promotions because we're conscious of the fact that cat medicine and cat care still needs to kind of catch up a little bit versus dog care.
Okay, right. Here's a couple of questions coming in. We'll get back to all that stuff at the end if we have time. I have a few pygmy goats. Was wondering, do I put light on with them in the dark winter days and nights, or can they see in the dark?
Yeah,
goats.
Well, they can see better in the dark than you and I, yes.
But come on, this is going to test you now.
They'd adjust.
How's your goat knowledge?
They'd adjust too. I do know a little bit about pygmy goats.
Good.
Yeah. Very, very good veterinary nurse who worked for me for over 10 years.
Right.
Breeds and sells and manages a little pygmy goat farm near Portarlington. So people who are interested in pygmy goats, folks, Animo, A-N-N-A-M-O-E, Animo pygmy goats. There you go. There's a little farm of them in Portarlington.
Right.
Yep. Now, they're anatomically or whatever else, they're the same as larger goats. But the interesting thing about pygmy goats is that they're very social, they're very clever, they like company, they need to be part of a herd. It's almost unfair to keep one on its own. If you had a little pygmy goat by itself, you'd need to kind of adopt it and bring it in and treat it almost like a dog.
Right.
Because they need a lot of socialisation.
So, but the key thing there, if you're going to go with pygmy goats, make sure you should get a pair.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you should.
It's like donkeys, really, isn't it?
A bit like donkeys. They have a high boredom threshold. They'll escape from anywhere. They'll eat anything. They're clever little, hardy little things. They can get through the smallest gap, and you'd be amazed how high they can jump and how high they can climb.
Okay.
Little goats. Lovely little creatures, though.
Okay, right. Let's turn a question about a Bichon Frise. We have a 12-year-old Bichon Frise stroke Shih Tzu. She's deaf. At least she won't hear the bangers in Halloween.
Yeah.
Any tips for well-being? We also have an 8-year-old Jack Russell to look after her. And obviously they're pretty good mates.
12-year-old and 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, the obvious thing is that a while since she's had a check-up. So we'd recommend a full blood screen from about 10 years of age onwards, and let's see what's going on. The biggest thing with them at that age is you will have arthritis issues invariably. No matter how quiet and how nice that little dog's life was, at 12 years of age, she's going to have aches and pains somewhere in nearly all cases. That's the first thing. Secondly, no matter how good her diet has been all her life, she probably has some dental issues now and could have toothache. And maybe hiding signs of toothache there. So a little bit of dentistry is often indicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
regularly.
Bring the dog in for a checkup.
Little
check
checkup.
Yeah. And you can't really check the hearing though, can you?
No.
Well,
you can ascertain how much they can hear you.
Yeah.
We can do a little check, a little assessment, and be able to give the owners some idea as to how much hearing loss there actually is.
Right.
But in terms of helping the hearing, there's probably not much we can do.
Okay, right, fair enough. Right, onward bound, here we go. Next one. Hi, we're talking about dog bedding. Can you tell me why my dog keeps ripping up any beds that I actually buy? Paula Burnett and Dundee asking that question.
Boredom.
Boredom?
Yeah. Paula doesn't say what breed her dog is or age.
Okay, yeah, if you can re-text us in there, Paula, please just give us a little bit more background to the dog, male, female, whatever, and let us know.
We have that issue all the time in Gym Dog with dogs that come in.
Right.
Typically in the daycare routine, they're out for a couple of hours and they get 2 breaks in the day where they have to come in and switch off and rest. And there are certain dogs who will trash and break up and wreck any bedding, no matter how tired they are. So the only thing you can do with those dogs is distraction. Give them lots of indestructible toys to keep them busy.
Okay, brilliant stuff indeed. And follow up on that one. Here we go. Next question from Breda out in Kilbride, direction Wicklow. Could you ask Des, what are the advantages and disadvantages in getting a female dog spayed or a laparoscopic spaying? So what's laparoscopic? Is this a new way of doing it?
Is a new way of doing it. The only difference with the laparoscopic spay would be that the scar is smaller.
Okay. And are more vets like yourselves taking that on board? No, they're not at the moment.
It's still a bit of a rarity.
Right.
It's still a bit of a rarity. We prefer, to be honest, to open up the abdomen.
Because it's not that big of an op anyway.
It's not that big of an operation, and we open up the abdomen and have a good look.
Okay. So when it's open, you can see if there's any other issues going on.
And I think most surgeons are more comfortable with that.
For that reason. While you have it open, you can have a look around.
The laparoscopy just means you have a smaller scar.
Okay, brilliant. Right, we've 2 kittens at home, age 4 months old, 4 months old, both females. How soon would I need to get them spayed? They came from a stray, but they were always in our garden. I don't mind them, but I don't want any more kittens for obvious reasons, says Joe.
No, Joe, get them into your vet soon.
Yeah.
They can be done from about now.
Oh, from around now. Around now. Okay, right. Hens love cat food, it just says here. There you go. Hens love cat food. Right. There we go. Didn't know that one either. Let's have a look. Hi, Des. The cat came to me a while ago. I brought him to a vet about the sores on his body. He got an injection for it. It heals up now, but then the open sores again. The vet said he could have an allergy.
Yeah.
I have 2 cats and they are fine. No sores. Any advice?
Yeah, that's really you'd be amazed how many cats get dermatitis, allergic dermatitis. Now, you would think the fact that they live in the wild and they live out and about, that their systems, their bodies should be acclimatised to everything that they encounter in nature, but not the case. Yeah. Not the case. Cats can get allergic dermatitis. I'm looking at the picture here of a nice black cat with several very itchy, scratchy, painful lesions and patches of hair loss across his skin. That is allergic dermatitis. That is more than likely an allergy to mites and fleas, no doubt. The best thing you could do with that cat is use the anti-parasitic spot-ons for fleas and mites once a month. Yeah. The way he is now with that type of hair loss and allergic dermatitis, he needs a course of either prednisolone or Apoquel tablets for a couple of weeks at this stage to let that dermatitis settle down and to stop the itch and stop the scratch. So a couple of weeks of prednisolone or Apoquel. Go in and see your vets about that. And going forward then, I'd recommend definitely use the anti-parasitic monthly spot-ons against the fleas and mites.
Okay, final question for you. Hi again. She is a 12-year-old Jack Russell. Oh, this is the follow-up to why my dog keeps ripping up the beds. She's a 12-year-old Jack Russell, have bought every toy and rips them all too as well.
Separation anxiety then.
Okay.
Separation anxiety. There's a tablet now for the separation anxiety in bad cases. If it's a thing that she's intractable and the poor little dog is just beside herself with upset and worry when she's left on her own, do pop into your vets and have a chat about that. The treatment for that now is a type of a tablet for anxiety, an anti-anxiety medication called Reconcile.
Yeah.
And we talked about that before. Now, folks, it's basically the very same as Prozac, which, as we know, a lot of people with anxiety and stress need to go on Prozac. So we have a doggy version of it, Reconcile, and you'd be amazed how many of our doggy patients are needing to go on it. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Oh, great way to finish up. Thanks for everything. And of course, we'll be podcasting this a little bit later on. Thanks, Des.
It's a pet's life with Jim Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit a petslife.ie.